the peace and order of the city, you're under arrest.
Hello, it's BrickBot again, and I've talked about how Tobot V made a sudden small comeback with a new version of Tobot V Great Admiral, but they're also trying straight up reissues too, with Captain Police, aka Sergeant Justice in the Galaxy Detectives. Yeah, but this is Captain Police. Yeah, so this is a new reissue, just a straight up reissue, no special color version. I guess, Police is always popular, so I guess they picked this standalone Tobot V out of all the other Tobot Vs to reissue. This just looks like the packaging that was released 6 years ago, but there's something very wrong with it. That's the old Universal Tobot logo here. Oh, this feels so wrong. This looks so wrong, especially if you compare it with the old packaging that has the Tobot V logo. And this was a recent release at the time. This came out a little bit 2 years later for Speed specifically. I mean, from the side, they look fine. But yeah, this is technically not a perfect box collection. Because if you look at it from the front, or the top, or the side, it just has the Universal Tobot logo that does not fit the Tobot V style. Ugh. I mean, probably fine for the Galaxy Detectives box collectors if there's any, because they all have this Tobot logo, but then if you have these years apart, then yeah, this is a mismatch. This is a mismatch. This is a crime of, homogenization. But at least there is the proper Tobot V logo here trademarked. Yeah, so at least it's right there. Just don't look up there. Captain Police here with, Tyler. Hello again, Tyler. Tyler in his blue police uniform doing a salute. And then, the Animal Toki. Remember when they did Animal Tokis? And that pointing. Toki combination, and then transformation, and then the shotgun. Remember the Ultimate Space Tobot V? And New Heroes? 6 years ago, and then New Hero again. 2024 of July. TBV CP. Some assembly was required for this front hood, which was spring attached to this front beam, but it was incredibly hard to get in, and it's incredibly hard to get out. So that's just permanently in place. But it came apart in the packaging, so I don't know how I'm gonna put this back in its package. I guess I'm gonna have to cut it out a bit. So we're looking back at this souped up police supercar. This is ridiculously souped up, like a supercar police car with like 3 different sizes of exhaust on the side, and then 2 more like big mufflers here. And also, are these also exhausts right on the top of the engine here? And then it gets a pretty reinforced police bumper with the little siren lights, and then a big old souped up engine on the front, apparently inspired by the 1970 Dodge Charger from the Fast and Furious. Yeah, you can see the drive belt there too. Yeah, it's a nice golden winglets on the side, and then a nice printed Captain Police badge here. That's a very V style, and then Captain Police on here. Yeah, I think the notable difference between this Korean version and the international GD version is they don't have the Captain Police written on here, so I guess you know which version you'll have. Yeah, just big old tail lights here, and then on front of here. And then, the back, the rear of the vehicle is more flayed out than the front of the wheels. Just nice curves. This is very curvature. Lots of curvature here, and more ridges here, like to kind of accent the exhausts and the gold and the dark blue and gold patterning. So so this is like a ridiculously super speedy, super police car, really fast to catch any super criminals. Yes, and the dark blue striping I think makes this a bit more sophisticated than the bright blue striping on Korean police cars. This is not any regionally specific police car, I think. Maybe some countries prefer dark blue police cars. I just wish the mini version looked half this good, because, I really only needed the tiny deluxe size Captain Police for most of my life. Yeah, it's just really lacking the dark blues and the golds. And of course, you know, the white paint on top of here. And especially the front badge, you know, just... How has no one come up with a sticker sheet of this thing yet? Yeah, like, if I can get around to downscaling the Super Racing deco onto, like, this one, onto the smaller one, that would be perfect. To the V transformation! Just unfold those feet so you can easily get a hold of the front hood. And figure out how to unlatch that central bit. You suppose, yeah, just arms down are the also easy unlocking points. Yeah, I guess there are circular tabs here. Just make sure to unlatch those. Just click it in. Satisfying spring ratchet clicks to and from robot mode. Leg slider, they can spring push leg slider. So that's just secure into place. Wrist out. No, that's his thumb. His thumb doubles as a little thumb catch to unlatch those out of the hands. And then the toe key, which is a dog. It's a little dog that just folds into a big dog head, so that almost works as a mini cod if you just only look at the head and the general shape of the dog, but if you look at the legs, it's very obvious it's a splayed dog with a tiny little dog growing out of its neck like a weird growth. Clipping that in there will, you know, let the ears of this dog just push this spring button to pop up the head with nice springiness. So that's what the toe key does for Captain Police, just spring up his head. You're always forgetting the heels. Captain Police still has that slim frame, but still pretty bulky. Just big old bulky shoulders really make a statement, especially with those big siren lights. And the tail lights also that forming big shoulder lights. And the gold, the dark blue and gold distributed throughout, and also the curvatures. Kibble cleans up pretty nicely, things considered, especially this back flap, you know, which doesn't exactly double fold over, but it's not a big kibble that really blocks the head or anything. And, you know, the signature animal in chest. Is he in part canine? Is Captain Police part canine? And, you know, just looks pretty bare without it. His sculpt is still pretty excellent. You know, the big brim cap, the big star badge, like blue visors over his actual eyes, which you see more of the visors than his actual eyes in the show, so nice linear lips. Those are pretty smooth thighs with a little bit of a line here. There's a tiny little line, like a little bump here. Not sure what those are for, but that's a little detail that can only be on big toys like these. It says 2019 instead of 2018. I guess this was used from the second production run of Captain Police. Of course, the main weapon is the shotgun. Soft ratchet clicks, you know, double hand. Double holes. You can put them in either hand, but imagine if you can hold it with both hands at the same time. But what's the point of that? Yeah, so it's a shotgun that the police force sometimes uses. There's even a bit of a pump handle here, but on this hollow side, well, compared to the not hollow side, so that's a little bit of budgeting there. Yeah, it's weird, like, there's some hollowness on this side, while solid on this side, while this is hollow, and then this is solid, so the hollowness is not exclusively to one side, at least. So in stock photos, he kind of holds it like this, just to show he's, like, double-handing it. Sort of works in certain angles. For another opportunity to slander Tobot V, you know that Tobot is kind of more of a pacifist. They're more of a pacifist type of combat. Because as in, you know, no realistic firearms, just more like capacitating weapons like a spider gun, like for shooting webs or freezing guns. or laser blasters, or with Tobot V, this is probably the first time you introduce a actual firearming looking gun. Yeah, I guess just for the Super Robo, that is the policeman. You have this sort of thing, this semi-realistic looking Toyota shotgun thing. And there's a roleplay weapon for this, only in China's storyline, so that's a big thingy. I guess Tobot said would sorta adapt this just because police firearms. Articulation rundown, you know, the pretty nice head swivel that's almost all the way around on a spring joint. There's our pivots and torso, but you know, they only go out that much for transformation, so, and those big blocky shoulders still get in the way of articulation, so that doesn't do much. His pretty stumpy arms, those arms that's always been stumpy, do have bicep swivels. Soft fracture bicep swivels and an elbow joint. That's not quite 90, and then wrist down for transformation. And an extendable elbow. That's a really stretchy elbow. That's a really springy elbow. It springs out that much. Mostly because, you know, that's used to clear the arm as it just clicks into vehicle mode. Yeah, that's very uncommon and neat. I don't know if that's neat. It kind of looks a little cursed if you just have to hold it out like that, but very interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen stretchy hydraulic-like arms in a Transformer toy before. I mean, I think it's cool to imagine that this is like a hydraulic, you know, where to simulate squat and stretch in robots. It would be neat if this was used more consistently and frequently in animation. That's a pretty nice observation. It might look a little weird and might not be familiar since it's not used very frequently, especially in animation, but that's still pretty neat.
Why do you hate cool ideas? Why do you hate the designer who had absolutely nothing to do with your stupid little kids cartoon and is trying cool new things instead of the same old boring old cars over and over?
Wait, what? That wasn't the complaint. Not much in leg articulation. There are the moving skirt flaps that go all the way forward here, then all the way back. Not much. Splits that much in the ratchets. Knee joints. No thigh swivels. Ratcheted foot down for transformation, but that's ratcheted. He has pretty good upper articulation for a Tobot V, just because of biceps. Not so much in the thighs, which is kind of expected. But at least his spring-loaded gimmick gives them a hollow space for ratchets to ring around in. And I guess the mini version is pretty okay. This is a pretty okay downscaling version of this thing. Yeah, since I didn't own the big toy, I really didn't know about these stretchy hydraulic things, so the way they did that without the tiny little version, you know, it's just kind of extend the wheel well here. So I guess, so that part of the art doesn't go down with it. Yeah, that thing's not easily noticeable if you don't know the big toy that can do that. Just wish this had more gold paint and some dark blue paint, but at least it has the essential gold in the waist and the head crest. Fine, here's the Super Cop Storm Chaser that I brought back. Now I can have a direct comparison from, you know, new release products, reissues, and new. Yeah, so you can see some of the same or similar design language, you know, from the same designer. I guess mostly the skirt flaps. The dark blues are pretty color matching similarly, and then similar cap designs. Especially those, you know, those geometric, those very low poly legs. A little bit of leg detailing slightly different here, but very similar. Like these bulging lines, these are cut lines. Slightly different kibble management, you know, just Captain Police just cleans up his kibble much more, and then it's more integrated in. Yeah, but I guess they could be co-workers. And they're both very large cars, especially with Storm Chaser in this day and age. Yeah, I guess Captain Police is like a souped up police muscle car, while I guess this is more of a street cruiser. Guess this is slightly more street legal. Yeah, so that's two different police car design styles. But I guess you can see the similar design language here too. Okay, fine. It took me a surprise reissue from Young Toys to finally get around to reviewing this thing because I didn't have much incentive to, but finally getting a look at it, it's an okay Tobot V toy. It's pretty good. It's pretty cool and stylish. Yeah, I guess 6 years later, 5 to 6 years later, it still holds. And as far as I can tell, I think the plastic quality and the paint quality is just as pristine and stellar from its first time. Because of these, dedicated ratchet joints and such, I don't think there's any signs of any mold degradation or anything. Yeah, so, that's, I guess, a testament to good, large, high-quality Young Toys. Big view-blocking shoulders aside, I think Captain Police / Sergeant Justice is a good introductory entry point for many new fans or just any new Transformer collectors just getting into Tobot V the first time, Tobot V before Tobot. Yeah, just because he looks cool, so I guess, and he's like a standalone character, not part of a combine or anything, so I think he's the first pick for many. But the real Tobot fans know that Captain Police is the worst police character because in spite of him being like an old, gruff police veteran chief, he's the most shallow of the character because that Tobot C is the one only true Tobot police character. And then Tobot Sen is also a good addition. But comparing the original Tobot toys, which were made to be pretty big, and then comparing them to the Tobots of the day, kind of shows how much of a bit of a shrinking they went through. Yeah, I think, somehow they just decided to go with 1/18 scale while this is more 1/24 scale, so I guess that's a bit of a size discrepancy between the two generations, so I think some might want to chalk that up to, just to ever decreasing budgets, but some it just might just be intentionally. I mean, somehow Captain Police's retail price went a bit down than from what it originally was according to old video footage. So if you missed out on Captain Police, well then, here's your chance to get him again. Though I'm not sure who was exactly clamoring or asking, because internationally, I guess, GD came a little late, so there's probably more of Sergeant Justices going around than Captain Police's, but maybe Captain Police's are catching up. And then also the fact that, Lee Mao launched their Chinese Tobot GD toy line in 2022, 2 years ago, so there wasn't a chance to get, the Sergeant Justice, which the toy was basically looks almost identical like this, but kind of built different. And they're still making all new toys, and Sergeant Justice has turned into a big racetrack, just for their market, so I think the Captain Police and Sergeant Justice demand will be satisfied for now. So can we expect any more Tobot V reissues to pick up the slack while Tobot Dato's Heroes just kind of steadily just saunters along? Yeah, well, I don't see any more upcoming reissues in the product safety listings, so this might be it for now. The most popular ones by market research, I guess. And I can only hypothesize that Sergeant Justice is a good standalone because any of the other single Tobots that were released there are part of a team or a combiner or just a collective team or a group. So I guess it would just feel a little too lonesome if you just reissue one of them or reissue too much of them, and I guess it would also take up valuable shelf space with the main Dato's Heroes. Yeah, so I guess it's just single Captain Police. But I dare Young Toys just to reissue the infamous Tobot Rescue Team and just put them all in one 3-pack. I mean, the original Tobots are not using them anyway. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled real Tobot.